Hey people, good morning. We've been contemplating in our devotions on the issues of what it means to stand. We've been looking in the book of Ezekiel to finding a dilemma that God faced at a particular time. Israel had got itself in a mess. God needed to minister to Israel in some way, but he says that there was no one to stand in the gap. And we've been defining this gap as that place between God and between ourselves, where we need somebody to come in and to take the hand of God and to take the hand of man and to be able to join those two together. And we've looked at different aspects of what this means. It does not mean that there are no in this gap standers around. There are. It's just that they come out of a unique situation, and God chooses certain people for the privilege of standing in the gap. So far, we've looked at three of the main issues. Great gap stander-innerers are people who understand three things. They understand solitude, they understand silence, and they understand secrecy. Those are the things that they define and that they need. Now, if you look at those three things, and you look and compare that with the great stander-innerer of all time, who has to be clearly Jesus. Jesus came and he saw the dilemma of the world in heaven and the glory of the Trinity. And he said, Father, there's a problem down here. And the Father would have said, yes, there is a problem. I need somebody to stand in the gap, to bridge the gap between us together with the world and to bring us back together again. And Jesus said, I'll be that one. And we know the story. Christmas is coming up. And Jesus came down out of the glory of heaven and he stood in the gap for mankind. Where would we be if we didn't have Jesus standing in the gap on our behalf? And Jesus took the hand of the hurting, he took the hand of God, he joined them together, and then he went back again, leaving us in a great position with his Holy Spirit and with a commission. It was a great stander-innerer thing. But here's the deal. If you go to the time of Gethsemane, the time when Jesus knew that the cross was only a few hours away, his emotions were running high, he was acting as a total human being and yet totally God, an incredible situation. And he went to the Garden of Gethsemane and he suffered incredible solitude. Incredible solitude. He cried out, he said, guys, I need you to pray for me. He says that to his disciples. And a whole bunch of times Jesus returned to them and found them fast asleep. Jesus understood completely what solitude looked like. And then he cries out to his Father in heaven. He says, Father, is there not another way? Is there not another way that we can bridge this gap between us and them? And is there not another way? And there was silence in heaven, no answer. And when Jesus suddenly realized what was going on, he suddenly changed the tune. He said, Father, no, now I know I have to go through with this thing. Your silence is my answer. And then we read how in the midst of the garden, Jesus went to that incredible place of secrecy. And his ultimate secrecy was they took him off the cross and they put him in a tomb. Nothing more secret than that. Nobody's going to go in the tomb except Jesus' tomb. And they took him and they put him in the most secret place that you could ever go. They put him in a grave. And Jesus came out of the grave. Jesus understood what it meant to be a great gap stander-innerer on our behalf. And he came and he stood in that gap. He understood solitude. He understood his Father's silence when he cried out. And out of that dead space, awful place of great silence and incredible place of secrecy, Jesus came and he blew the stone away, came out again. People, we need to say thank you to Jesus for being the greatest gap stander-innerer that ever there was. There will never be another one like him. There never has been, there never will be. He is the greatest. So let's contemplate that today. And just remember that if we want to ever stand in the gap for God, we too are going to have to understand what solitude, silence, and secrecy is all about. Think about those things today, people, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.